I think it's safe to say that a lot of old-time Nickelodeon fans have been definitely happy with what the studio has been doing lately. Granted, not everything is great, their live shows are still not the greatest, but I am happy that they are kind of putting some attention to their older fans. You would have never seen this about 6 years ago, but what they're doing now is making me happy what they are doing. A couple years ago, we got that Hey Arnold special that gave conclusion to the series. For years, fans have wanted to see the real ending of Hey Arnold, and we thought we were never going to get it. People were pretty much just like, yeah, that's just wishful thinking. No matter what you do, we're not going to get it. But we actually did go and get it. And then a couple years ago, I think not long after the special aired, or a little bit before it aired, it was announced that it was going to be a Rocko's Modern Life special, of all things, and a freaking Invader Zim special. And we got so excited for these. To finally see another special for Invader Zim, which was a show that also didn't get a proper final, and Rocko's Modern Life, a really good old Nickelodeon show that I guess it sort of kind of got a proper final, but it was a show that a lot of people weren't going to expect to get one, like Ren and Stimpy, which definitely won't get one, considering John's, well, lifestyle. So, it took a few years for us to get these, and a lot of people were wondering what happened to these specials. They were announced back in 2017, and then both of them were supposed to air in 2018. 2018 came, went, and we hadn't even heard of them. There was pretty much no news of both of these specials, and it gave speculation of what happened to them. Some people were starting to think that they were canceled, or just maybe something else happened, and it got a lot of people worried. There was just no news at all until this year, when it was finally announced that they would air in August. So, let's go and talk about these. Rocko's Modern Life. It was always a pretty good show to me overall, the original. It wasn't my favorite, but it's still a show that I really do appreciate. They got away with so many freaking great jokes on there. Stuff that's go and fly by your head. One of them is that at one episode, it's actually kind of the whole episode actually, called Closet Clown, but so Mr. Big Head has to go and find his inner clowns, and at the end of the episode, Rocko admits he likes rainbows, and then everyone goes and gets pissed at him and go and chase him out of town. So you just assume that, well, I guess they hate rainbows, but then you realize it's something for gay people, so... But it was always a great show to me, and the special was... It was, how should I say it? Good, but I don't think it was really as good as the Hey Arnold special. So, what it was pretty much was about is that Rocko and his friends are out in outer space, and they've been up there for 20 years. And I think that's how the show might have ended. I don't really know, but they've been up there for 20 years, and they want to come down. So, they finally get back to Earth, and they see how everything has changed. How there are Starbucks at every corner, how everyone now has an iPhone, how movies are all gritty now, and there's virtually no comic book stores. So they are really surprised by it, and while Heifer and Filbert think it's really cool, Rocko is taking a little more time to get adjusted to it. But things take a turn for the worse when he finds out that Fathead isn't around anymore. And it's also not good when Mr. Big Head is pretty much gone bankrupt because of Rocko. So the two make a deal that if Rocko can go and find his son Ralph and get the show back, and make him billions. So Rocko and Heifer and Filbert go on this quest to go and find Ralph's son. Overall, it was a good special. It had a lot of funny moments. The animation, it did look like the show, and it was an okay plot, not the best, but So you wouldn't really expect a big flop, something like Rocko's Modern Life. It's just your general comedy animation. It's not gonna have just giant plot like Invader Zim would. So one of my problems was the message of change, and it wasn't the worst ever, but it was just a little preachy. It was just pretty much going like, change, 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 change. And I was just thinking, God, just get on with it. I don't freaking care about this. So it's pretty much just about how Mr. Big Head's son is now transgender because that's a big thing right now, and I was hoping that they weren't going to go and just push it, shoving it in your face, and for the most part, that wasn't. It was kind of pushed to the side, and that made me happy. I was just hoping they weren't going to go and ruin the message with that, make it like a side mail or something like that, but overall, it wasn't too bad. I mean, if they wanted to go and add a transgender character, I'm okay with that, but when they go and push it in your face, that's where this gets really freaking annoying. So, I also thought it was a little too short. It was only about 45 minutes long. That's pretty much about the length of 2 episodes, depending on what the cartoon is. Some cartoons are 22 minutes long, others are 11 minutes long, and others are 7 minutes long, but still. I still thought it was just a little short, and if they made it a little bit longer, they could have gotten some more stuff in. I was also disappointed that by the lack of other characters. I mean, we had the main 3, we had Ed, we had his wife, Bev, but other than that, we didn't really have anybody else. Filbert's wife was pretty much pushed to the side. She got about 1 or 2 lines. Heifer's family, they really didn't even appear at all, I think. I know his mom appeared at one scene, but she didn't talk at all, and then I don't think really anybody else in his family appeared. So that was kind of a disappointment. And just, there was really no one else. Even that one hippo lady who says, "How dare you!" I mean, she was in the scene, but she didn't say it, which was a big missed opportunity for her famous line. So it was just a good special overall. I liked it, but not as much as the Hey Arnold special. I think they could have done a lot more, and considering that the special got delayed for a year, just maybe that has to do with that I was a little disappointed by it. I was expecting a lot more out of it because of that, but still, I wish they could have done more with the special instead. So, Invader Zim. This show was always different back when it premiered. It was darker and grittier. It had that dark comedy in it. It was just something different from all the other Nickelodeon shows that aired at the time, like Fairly Odd Parents or Jimmy Neutron. And it was a good thing. It got a lot of people who, usually a little older, into the show. And even though I heard a lot of people say that they think the show was canceled because it was too dark and gritty, from what I heard, the main reason that the show actually got canceled was because it was too expensive. And yeah, it was a really expensive show at the time. And it was probably actually a little ahead of its time. If it aired on Nickelodeon, it probably should have aired several years later. Other than that, it probably should have aired maybe on Adult Swim or Toonami, but even then it might not have worked. So it was always a great show to see, and even though I did like it, the fan base was sometimes kind of annoying. You remember back in the day when it got popular and you saw all those emo kids who were into it, and at every Hot Topic you would see some girl doll or a girl on a backpack or something like that. Back in the days of 2007 and 2008, that was kind of annoying. It kind of ruined it for me, because you had all these 13-year-olds who had those things, and it's just like, oh God, please. But, so, great show overall, and what about the special? I think it really lived up to it. To me, this was better than the Rocko's My Life special. Was it better than Hey Arnold? that I'm not sure, or I'm still thinking about that, but overall, it lived up to its standards. It had great animation, humor, characters, everything. Let's talk about the animation. So it starts off with this really cool anime-like opening that looks like it's straight out of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. It looks really great, and it had that shot of Dipper looking up into the, or not Dipper, Dib looking up into the sky, and then Zim walking into fire. It was just really freaking great looking. Some of the best I've ever seen out of the series. And even then, the regular animation was pretty good. The colors were bright, the animation was fluid. You can tell that Nickelodeon just didn't go and drop a few dollars into this, or even the Rocko's Modern Life special or Hey Arnold. They are actually making these specials and putting money into them, which is great to see. So it was really great looking. It didn't look cheap or anything like that. Lots of great facial expressions, especially from Zim and Div. Just some of the stuff you see out of this series. And the characters were also great. One of my favorites was Gaz, and in the show, she was always just grumpy and mean, and she didn't really care what happened to anyone. If Dib went and fell off a cliff and fell into an abyss, she was just like, eh. But here, she's more like a sister. She does make fun of him and everything like that, but she does show just the little teentiest amount of caring about him. And from getting tongue twisted again, from what I've read, it's mostly based off her character from the comics, because the creator thought her character was just too gritty from the original show, so he wanted to change her. And personally, I think it's for the best. Though I do kind of miss her original design. I mean, it was probably the most different from everyone's. Zim is the same, Gers is the same. For the most part, I think Dibs is the same. He has different shoes and a different shirt, a slightly different shirt, but for the most part he's the same. But she definitely had the biggest change of all. And I really liked how Membrane was in this. See, in the show, he appeared, but not too often, and it was just like, ooh, science, 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 and he is in this like this, but I think it's played a little bit more funny in it. So, overall, the plot was pretty good. It was pretty much how Zim is taking Phase 2 into function, and he's going to go and destroy Earth and everything like that, and it did it in a really great way. It was pretty much just about tricking Dib, and he tricked Dib quite a few times in the series. You think he would go and find out things, but he doesn't hear. So tricking Dib into thinking he's given up, and then at one point he really does when he finds out that the Totalist never really cared about him. But then when Dib mentions this bracelet thing that Membrane made that can go communicate with a bunch of kids, Zim goes and sees his chance. So he goes and hijacks these things, and he does it by having Gur sing this song about peace, going like, peace is nice, peace is nice, peace is better than chicken and rice. I mean, it's a really weird song, but it was funny and kind of catchy, actually. Who knew that the way to go and make world peace was to go and make a song about chicken and rice? Now we can only get Trump, Kim Jong-un, and Vladimir Putin to go and hold hands and sing the song. Then everything would be really, really great. So they go and do that, and then Zim goes and teleports them to this different part in the universe where they're going to get destroyed by all the Urkins. So now Gaz and Dib had to go and work together to go and stop Zim. So I didn't really like how Gaz and Dib had to work together. You didn't really see that much in the original series, and even when it did happen, Gaz was like, yeah, whatever, I'll do it, I guess. And this, she does actually seem genuinely scared that the Earth may end. So, and I actually kind of was a little disappointed by the fact that there weren't as many characters in this. it pretty much focused on the main characters, but there was no Miss Bitters, there was none of the other classmates, there was no that one guy from who was the head of the Swollen Eye Society or whatever they're called. So not all the characters appeared, or Taz. She didn't appear either. Now, I mean, she sort of appeared as this ship, but other than that, she didn't technically appear. So, and the big battle between Zim and Dib was also really great. Great angles, great animation. Just, I loved it really much. And my favorite part was it when Membrane came back to Earth and he's holding Dib, and then he's like, "Who are you people? You don't work for me?" And then he does a freaking Kamehameha out of his robot hands and destroys all these robots, and both him and Dib are working together to go and defeat these guys, to go and get the moose thing that started this whole thing. And then when they're trying to go and fix it, Membrane is trying to go and fix it, they enter the Florpus, and the dimensions change, and they go through all these different dimensions such as a puppet dimension, a dog dimension, a robot dimension, the anime-like dimension, and they all look really good. So, as you expect, they are able to go and defeat Zim and save the world. And it ended with everyone looking really happy, but Membrane, of course, is convinced it was all a dream, even though pretty much the city is destroyed. And then Zim says it was actually just a plot to go and steal this little clown thing. And he reported to the tallest, who are now inside the Florpus, and he thinks that he succeeded. So, I think overall the ending could have been a little bit better. I knew they weren't going to go and kill Zim or kill Dib because that would piss fans off, but I still kind of wonder how different it was going to be from the original series final, Invader Dib. Originally they were going to have, I think it was going to be a 2-part or 3-part series final back in the day, but it never got made, and I do really wonder how different this one turned out. What they kept, what they took out, and I think it was supposed to end with Dib did go and defeat Zim, but he ended up on an asteroid for the rest of his life or something like that. So they probably did go and change a lot of things, and one of the biggest things you see that's different is that it's actually based more on the comics than the show. It's kind of more wacky and lighthearted, and not as dark, as gritty as the show was, and of course you see that from their outfits as well. So overall, it didn't really bother me that much. I thought it was a pretty good change, so I was okay with that. But yeah, it was I think a really good special, and I wouldn't mind seeing more Invader Zim in the future. We'll probably not get it, but still, I am excited to go and see that. So with that, we still have that Rugrats special, or movie technically, that's gonna be released, I think, in the next couple years, and I think it's gonna be animation and live action combined, and who knows how that would turn out. But I kind of hope that soon we see another Danny Phantom special and get a better proper final for that, because that show, I think it only lasted 2 or 3 seasons, and it should have had more, but it didn't. So I would kind of like to see that. Maybe a Doug special for kind of a more down-to-earth special, maybe show Doug as an adult and having his own kids, something like that. And let's see, maybe even a Wild Thornberry special. I always thought that was kind of an underrated special, and see something out of that. Jimmy Neutron could also work in seeing the updated animation, because I mean, while the animation wasn't terrible or anything from the original, you could tell that Nickelodeon did have a budget for it. So I do hope this goes and makes a lot more specials in the future, not just for Nickelodeon, but also for Cartoon Network as well, since they usually don't do much for their shows. I mean, sure, we had that Powerpuff Girls revival and the Samurai Jack revival, which was good, but also a little short. They had to go and rush things, so it did kind of ruin a couple aspects for us, but other than that, it was pretty good. So for me, overall, the Rocko's Modern Life special gives a thumbs up, but even though it could have been longer and they could have made the changeover tone not as noticeable. For Invader Zim, 2 double thumbs up for me. Really, really good. I had to go and give them a lot of credit for this. They put their all into that, and it was just incredible. I don't know if I like it more than the Hey Arnold special or not, but still, it was really, really great. I loved it. So yeah, that's my review of these two things. I actually was originally going to make a separate review for Rocko's Modern Life, but decided just to go and make it one long video for both of them because it would be kind of easier. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. What did you think of it? Did you think they were good, bad, in between? That's where you come in. So, thanks for watching and hope you have a great day.